Hello guys, it's Teenage DC Fan back in another video, and the crisis has concluded. Part 5, the end of the 5-part crossover. So much happened here, there's so much to go over, so let's just jump right into it so we can talk about everything that happened, or at least like the main things that happened, because like I said, there's a lot of stuff to happen, but I don't want to make the video too long, so yeah. So anyway, well, actually, before I start talking about the episode, I should do a quick mini recap of what happened at the end of the last episode. So the universe got reborn, so now there's a new universe. So Kara, she wakes up, and she's in her apartment with Alex, and she's super confused, because, she's like, wait, but the dawn of time, the anti-monitor, Oliver, the new multiverse, and then Alex thinks she going cuckoo, because she don't know what she's saying. But then Kara goes to the DEO, and then she gets even more confused, because, she finds out that Lex Luthor is a good guy now, and he won the Nobel Prize. He's also the owner and the boss of the DEO. She and Lena are best friends again. But then Jean shows up and he starts to explain everything, because only the Paragons know what happened. So everybody else, they don't know what happened, so they don't know about the whole crisis thing that happened. But then they get an alert that there's some kind of villain on the loose, and it turns out it's Weather Witch. And Supergirl shows up, and she has no idea who she is. But then the Flash shows up, takes her out pretty easily. I mean, just knocks her over, basically. And then the Flash and Supergirl are both confused, because they're like, wait, I thought this was my Earth. No, I thought this was my Earth. But what? So then they get super confused. Then we have a cameo from Marv Wolfman, who actually wrote the original Crisis on Infinite Earths comic series. So that was cool. And this is basically how they find out that their Earths were merged into one. So they're on the same Earth now. So basically, every show is on Earth Prime. So Supergirl and Black Lightning's Earths joined Earth 1, basically. So that's pretty cool. And you got that. But then all the rest of the Paragons are kind of confused. But John Jones, Martian Manhunter, is going through the city, refreshing people with his mind thing, memory thing, whatever he can do. And he's basically putting the memories in their head, so they're like, oh yeah, that's what happened. And Sarah shows up at the Team Arrow bunker, and she thinks the Oliver would still be alive, because, technically everybody died, and they're all alive now, so why wouldn't he be alive? But then this is where she meets up with Diggle and Renee and Dinah, and this is when they realize that he's gone. And this is a really emotional scene, especially with Diggle. Just how he said, it's like they were brothers, and not only did Oliver die twice, but Diggle wasn't there for him both times. So that was really sad, and I'm even crying now thinking about it. Like, my eyes, I'm starting to tear up, because that was really, really emotional here. Really excellent scene, though. But then there's another alert, because apparently there's something going on in the city, and they decide that it's just the distraction that they need. So they all show up. We got the Flash, Supergirl, Adam, and then Heatwave is there as well, and this is the actual Earth 1 or Earth Prime Heatwave, unlike in part 2 of the crossover where it was like Earth 74 version of Heatwave or something. And Mick just happens to be there because he's at a book signing. Because if you watch Legends of Tomorrow, then this will make sense to you, and if you don't, then this will be really confusing. But he's Rebecca Silvers. He's doing a book signing, but then it gets interrupted because there's some huge creature walking by, and guess who it is? Bebo, hungry. Bebo's awesome. I mean, like months ago, I said that, Bebo might show up in the crossover, and I thought it was like a real possibility, but I figured it would just be like there's a Bebo stuffed animal or a toy like in the background somewhere, or like it's just a toy. But no, they actually had like a giant walking, talking Bebo walking around, rampaging throughout the city. So that was pretty awesome. And then especially this part here with Ray taking a selfie with Bebo. And so then they come up with the plan. Adam and Supergirl distract Bebo while the Flash grabs some cables that are nearby to tie him up, and then they trip him. But then when they do that, the wire cable thing just goes right through his leg. It's like his leg turns into mush and then forms back into place. And then they get super confused. But then Batwoman shows up, and she explains that, maybe it's a distraction. So then it pans over to a bank, and there's this dude in like a sorcerer's magician outfit, and he's like, I am Sargon the sorcerer, and something like that. And basically this dude, Sargon the sorcerer, used his magical powers to create a Bebo, and he was using it as a distraction so that he could rob a bank. I mean, I thought that was kind of lame. Like, it was cool seeing Bebo, but not only was he being created and controlled by just some random dude, but I don't even know if this is like a character from the comics. I think this might just be a character that they came up with just for this. Ooh, Sargon the Sorcerer. That's not even a cool name. He was really stupid. But then once they knocked him out, Bebo turned into a pile of goo. So Bebo goo. That, I mean, Diggle mentioned that there's a Bebo TV series, so they got Bebo TV series, Bebo plushies, probably got some action figures and all that stuff, but now, all they gotta do is just get a bunch of samples from that Bebo goo, and you got Bebo goo for sale. That would probably sell really well, honestly. But then all the heroes meet back at the Arrow bunker except Sarah and Barry, because they have an emotional scene together, heart to heart, talking about Oliver and how much he meant to them. But then Nash Wells shows up in the Arrow bunker, and he reveals that the Anti-Monitor is still alive, and that he is coming, and he's hunting down all of the Paragons, so he's sending the Shadow Demons after the Paragons, and this is when Sarah and Barry find out about this because a Shadow Demon shows up, and then they realize Ryan Choi, they need to go save him because he's the only Paragon that doesn't have any powers, plus he's the only Paragon that's not with the rest of the heroes. So then it shows Ryan's at his house. He's in his daughter's bedroom. So we got the baby in his arms. He trying to save the baby. He barricades the door, but then Sarah jumps in, takes out the Shadow Demon, saves the day, and she's like, "You're coming with us." Now, my question is, like, we didn't see Ryan's wife here, and if she was home, you'd think she would be there with Ryan and the baby, hiding and trying to get away from the Shadow Demon, unless she did. That's always a possibility. But what did Ryan do with the baby when he went to go with the heroes? Like, if his wife isn't there, like, he was right next to the crib, did he just drop the baby in the crib and leave it there. Like, that's kind of irresponsible, but I don't know. But then, anyway, they all go to the Arrow bunker. They come up with this plan. The Geek Squad, as they call themselves, Ryan, Ray, and Nash, they go to Star Labs to build this shrinking device, and it's like a bomb, so if they throw it at the Anti-Monitor, then it will shrink them into the Microverse, which is very similar to the Quantum Realm in the Marvel movies. And he'll be trapped for all eternity and, you know, all that stuff. But then the rest of the heroes, they have to go fight the Anti-Monitor. So they're all suited up, they're walking into the battle, and honestly, this battle wasn't great. I mean, I think it could have been better, but it was still overall pretty good. I like that Jean actually turned into his Martian form, because that doesn't happen very often. I mean, he's one of the Paragons, and he wasn't even Martian Manhunter until this final battle. Like, that's kind of stupid. And there's a lot of characters that weren't even here, like no Ralph and the Elongated Man. Cisco, that's another question I have. Did Cisco lose his powers again? We didn't even see Cisco in this episode, so does he still have his powers? Does he not? We didn't see Iris either. I mean, she wouldn't have been able to help in this battle, but we still could have seen that she was okay. Mia, you know, basically any other character like that would have been cool to see here. But this is the battle we get. And you got the Anti-Monitor, of course, fighting them. And then he grows large, he gets big, and that's how he is in the comics. So I wasn't expecting this, but I'm glad they did it. Because, like I said, it was a reference to the comics. And overall, it looked pretty cool. So then, basically, long story short, they got the shrinking bomb, threw it at the Anti-Monitor, and shrunk him into the micro realm, microverse or something like that. And yay, the day is saved. But because of this, the president comes on TV for like a televised thing, a special report, and apparently it's a new president now, because like on Supergirl we see the president on there all the time, and a new president actually just got elected last season on Supergirl, but apparently that doesn't matter anymore, because now it's a completely different president. But she's on there, and she is talking about how all the heroes saved them from the Anti-Monitor. And then there's a small little tribute to Oliver Queen and how he sacrificed himself to save the universe. And then they have a moment of silence. And during this moment of silence, we see all the heroes there. And like I said, no Cisco or Iris. So then when it pans over to Barry, it's literally just Barry and Caitlin sitting there in Star Labs alone together. That was kind of weird. But I do like that we also got to see Nate and actually I forgot her name. Director Sharp, Ava Sharp. Yeah, we got to see Nate and Ava in this episode for a little bit, and they were there for the moment of silence too. But then also during this part, or maybe it was a little after, we got to see a little bit of like closure for some characters. First of all, we have Diggle. So we see that he's at home with Lila. So I don't know how what happened with her, because last time we saw her was in part 3 when she was corrupted by the Anti-Monitor and she was Harbinger and everything. So apparently now she's not Harbinger anymore, and she's completely fine now. She's back to normal, I guess. And you see John Diggle Jr., he is still a kid. But then you see another kid, and honestly, I didn't pick up on this the first time I was watching it. But if you've been watching Arrow for a while, or if you've been watching any of the Arrowverse shows, then you may know that Diggle used to have a daughter named Sarah, and then when Barry did the whole Flashpoint thing, things changed, and then Diggle had a son, John Diggle Jr., and now, because of the Earths merging, there's a whole bunch of things that are different, and now Diggle has both Sarah and John Diggle Jr., so I thought that was a nice reference and some closure, so that he finally has his daughter back. I didn't think this would happen, and honestly, like, even after the first time watching this, I didn't know that it happened, because you wouldn't know unless you're, like, a hardcore fan. Then also we get Superman. So he's flying through the city, then he gets a call from Lois, and then she mentions sons. So apparently it turns out Clark and Lois have at least two sons. So that's a tie-in to the Superman series that will premiere next fall, which I'm really looking forward to. And a big part of that show will be about the kids. And yeah, now it's two sons now. Now, another character that we didn't get this type of closure thing for, that I wish we did, was Ryan Choi. Because the last time we saw Ryan in this was when he was there and he was working on creating the bomb, and then he gave it to Barry and Ray, and then they went off to use it. Like, that was the last time we saw him, so we don't know what happened with him. I think it's actually been confirmed that he's going to be in Legends of Tomorrow this season, because of course Ray Palmer is leaving the show, so I'm assuming it'll be something like Ray decides to leave the team, and he thinks that there should be an Adam, so then he passes the mantle to Ryan because he met him during the crisis, and he knows that he's really smart and he knows a lot about all the science stuff, and that he would be a good hero to take over as the Atom. But then we get a little voiceover that's very similar to the opening of the crossover, where we saw the Monitor talking about how the multiverse was created, but then it had the montage of all the different cameos of people looking up at the red skies, and now we have the same thing, a bunch of cameos, except this time it's voiced by Oliver, and he's explaining how the multiverse has been born again. And at first I was like, wait, the multiverse is back? I thought the whole point of this was there was no multiverse now, it was just one Earth. But no, there's a multiverse again. It's just less Earth, I guess, and a lot more organized and clean, I guess. But we get a really nice montage, starting off with Earth 2, where we see Stargirl and the JSA. So, of course, this is a tie-in to the Stargirl series that will be on the CW in the spring, which isn't really that long from now. So I'm looking forward to that show. The trailer really looks good. So I'm looking forward to that, and that was a nice tease. And then actually we got a new trailer the same night that this episode was on, and it featured the JSA, that robot dude, I think his name is Stripes or something. But then we also get Earth 12. I may be getting these numbers mixed up, but I think it's Earth 12. And we get Swamp Thing, which was really awesome. I haven't seen the show yet, but I've heard that it's really good. But it was canceled before the first episode was even out. But a lot of people are saying that it's like probably the best show that DC Universe made. And it's too bad that it cost so much to make it, because that's the reason they canceled it. But it was cool to see him here. And then we got Earth. I don't know what Earth number this is. I was just about to say it's Earth 12, but I don't know, maybe it is. So let me know, did I get confused with the Swamp Thing and Green Lantern one? But anyway, we get Green Lantern, and this is footage from the movie with Ryan Reynolds, but I'm not sure if this is supposed to be like a setup for the Green Lantern HBO Max series, or if this is just like the Earth for what happened in that movie. I'm thinking it's for the show because, it would be making sense for them to set that up and everything, but it was cool to see this. We didn't see any specific characters, but we saw the big Green Lantern symbol thing you see there. Then we get Titans on Earth 9 again. I still haven't seen season 2 of Titans, but the footage that it shows was in the trailer for season 2, so it's not like it's spoilers or anything. So that's cool, and I'm excited to watch season 2 as soon as I can. Then we also get Earth 21, where we see the Doom Patrol, which I also still have not seen, but I just got it on DVD, so I'm gonna try to start watching it sometime soon. Just really haven't had the time. But it was cool to see them as well. And then finally, for Earth 96, we see Kingdom Come Superman, except he's not Kingdom Come Superman anymore. So this is basically the Brandon Routh Superman from the movie, whatever, I think it was called Superman Returns. I don't know for sure because I haven't seen it, but it was something like that. So that was really cool to see. And then probably the best part of the episode, also probably the best part of not only the crossover, but just the Arrowverse as the whole. So this is like a funeral type scene for Oliver. And since this is like a funeral for Oliver, I don't get why, Diggle or Felicity aren't there, or even Mia. That kind of would make sense, but whatever. So you see all the heroes lined up here. So they have a display case with Oliver's suit there, on display there, to honor him. And then Supergirl, the Flash, and White Canary all come forward. They say some stuff about Oliver, the emotional, sentimental stuff. And then Kara uses her I-beams to light the torch on fire. So there's a torch in front to keep the light alive for Oliver. So that's like they're honoring Oliver. But then Black Lightning asks why Barry decided to do this in an abandoned building. And then this is where Barry explains, oh no, this isn't an abandoned building. This is just an old Star Labs research facility that nobody knows about. So basically this is the Hall of Justice. And then he shows us the before I get into that, he says that they can all come here whenever the world is going to end, or as there's some big threat, because basically in every crossover they just go to the DEO because that's the biggest place that they could go to for all the heroes to be at. But now they have this place, the Hall of Justice. Of course it's going to need some construction done, make some improvements. But first of all, we have a table. Barry made the Justice League round table that's iconic to the Hall of Justice. And not only that, so this is the Justice League, and they have chairs for everybody. But not only that, but they have the logos on the backs of everybody's chairs. So I think that's probably like the best part of it, is the logos on the back. I think Martian Manhunter's logo looks the best. But then also, as you can see up here in the middle on the top, there's also a seat for Oliver. So there's 8 seats, 7 Justice League members, but an 8th one for Oliver. I have a feeling that at some point Mia, because she's the new Green Arrow, she might end up joining the Justice League and take that seat possibly. I don't know, that's possible. Now this doesn't really feel like the Justice League because, there's no Batman or Wonder Woman. But I'm still glad to see it though. And it looks really cool, and I'm excited to see how they use this team going forward with crossovers and just the Arrowverse as a whole. But then, you think this is the big moment, this is the end. But then it gets even better. And this is something that leads me to believe that they're not the Justice League, because technically I don't know if Warner Brothers would even let them use that name. But I think that they're the Super Friends, because this is where we hear some giggling. And at first I thought it sounded like a laugh, like a Joker laugh. And if you go back on my channel like months and months ago, I did a video about how there was a rumor that Mark Hamill was going to be in Crisis on Infinite Earths as the Joker, and I was like, wait, is this actually happening? But then I listened closer and I was like, oh, that sounds like a monkey, so that's not Mark Hamill. I mean, it could be, but no, it's not. That would have been pretty awesome though, but no. And then I'm like, what? A monkey? What does this mean? And then we see this crate and it says Gleek on it, and at this point I am fanboying so hard, because I love the Wonder Twins. And well, if you don't know who the Wonder Twins or Gleek are, basically Gleek is this little blue alien space monkey. He's the pet for the Wonder Twins. And the Wonder Twins are they were created for the Super Friends TV series cartoon. And they're kind of like interns, kind of. That's kind of how I would put it. Or like they're Justice League members in training. So it's like they're there with the Justice League and the Super Friends to learn and how to become a hero and stuff like that. And so basically this means that we are getting the Wonder Twins at some point. I don't know how, when, or where. Maybe we'll have to wait until next year's crossover, maybe not. But maybe we'll get them on one of the shows, like Legends of Tomorrow I think would make the most sense. Or The Flash or something like that, because the crate said Star Labs on it. And Gleek has escaped now, so he's somewhere running around in the Hall of Justice, which looks awesome from the outside, by the way. So that's pretty awesome. I can't wait to see the Wonder Twins. And by the way, if you didn't know this already, this actually wouldn't be their first time appearing in live action, because they were on Smallville, which is probably my favorite show ever. So, like I said, I'm excited to see the Wonder Twins at some point. And Gleek, don't know when, don't know where. Yeah. So Crisis on Infinite Earths as a whole, there were some things I really loved. Of course, there were some things that I didn't like. There were some things I wish that would have happened that didn't, like Reverse Flash showing up. There were a few things that kind of weren't explained well enough, but overall, this is definitely the best crossover they've done so far. And next year they are definitely not going as big as they did this year. They're keeping it small. There's even a rumor that they're not even doing a big crossover at all, and they might just do like multiple small crossovers like they used to do, like how they used to do like an Arrow Flash crossover or a Flash Supergirl crossover, or something like that. I think they'll probably do a Supergirl and Batwoman crossover at some point, something like that, because that's like the new friendship moving forward in the Arrowverse. Before it was Oliver and Barry, now it's Kara and Kate. So we got that to look forward to, and all the shows have new episodes coming up, and I'm gonna be doing episode reviews just like I have been. So stay tuned for those if you want to see that. And this is quite a long video, but this was such an awesome crossover. I hope you enjoyed it as much as me. So let me know what you thought down in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe. And I hope to see you in my next video so I can bestow all my DC knowledge upon you.